People are always wondering which AI model should I be using, and the truth is the way things are right now, you need to know how to use several different models at one time so that you can save on cost. Because as more powerful models hit the market like Fable 5, we're going to see that they need more compute and they're going to be more expensive to actually run. But if they're anything like Fable 5, they are going to be absolutely awesome. They're going to be great models and you're going to want to use them, but you're not going to want to use them for everything. So in this video, I'm going to share with you a workflow you can use to get the results you want without breaking the bank. The first thing you want to do is open up the Claude desktop app. If you don't have the Claude desktop app, download it. I'll put a link in the description. After you've downloaded the Claude desktop app, you want to click on New Project in the top left-hand corner, and you're going to see this dialog box. There are 3 different ways that you can set up projects inside of Claude Cowork. Number 1, you can start from scratch. Number 2, you can import a project from chats. And number 3, you can use an existing folder. What we're going to do is use an existing folder. And after you watch this video, you should probably always be using an existing folder. After you choose your folder, you want to paste in some instructions. And I'm going to paste in instructions that basically let Claude know where to save all of the different items that it creates. Now that we have our project set up, we don't have any chats inside of it yet, but all I have to do is come over here to the left-hand column and I can find a conversation that I've been having about AI operating systems that I've been building, and I can move this to a project. Find the project, click on it, and now this conversation is inside of this project as well as its outputs. But let's say that I want to get some clarity around the system that I'm building, and I want to use NotebookLM to help me do that. This is one of the easiest things that you could possibly do. Now, this is where things get interesting. What I like to do is do some of my work outside of Claude and then bring those results back into Claude because it helps me get across the finish line quicker and without spending as many tokens. So the first thing I want to do is collect all of the outputs and assets that I've created inside of this conversation that I've just recently moved into this singular project so that I can keep everything together. Create a new document for each individual idea that we've covered, every problem that we've solved inside of this conversation. Don't group it all together into one document. Create several smaller documents when necessary. Also, take a copy of all of our outputs or just move the outputs into the folder that we specify inside of the instructions for this project. You can word your instruction however you want to, but I want Claude to capture my thinking in this conversation, and I want it to document each individual piece because of what we're about to do next inside of NotebookLM. It's very important that I have different ideas separated. This is going to allow NotebookLM to fine-tune everything that it's doing as far as our research goes. Now that Claude has captured all of my ideas, all of my thinking, and all of our outputs into one folder, the next thing we want to do is go over to NotebookLM. Click Create New Notebook, and then we want to choose the folder where we want to drop in our files. Shouldn't take long, but now all of our files have been uploaded, and the next thing we want to do is this. We want to come over here to the right-hand side, and I want to create a mind map because a mind map is one of the quickest ways for you to actually understand what you're building. Now, you can click on the button and it'll generate a mind map based on the sources for you, or you can tell it what the topic should be. I like to just click on the button and let it generate the mind map based on the information it has. It tends to be more accurate instead of trying to guide it, which can skew the results. And I'm trying to see a bird's eye view of the system. And so now we have our mind map. This is an AI operating system, and we can see that there's a core philosophy, the system anatomy, operational tenses, key mechanisms, meta OS factory. And so the primary thing that I created this mind map for is the system anatomy. Now they have 8 groups. So I'm going to click this and see what it has. The cockpit, the foundation, the engine, operations, guardrails, memory, power source, ownership. Now this is perfect because this is exactly what the system is. But let's look and see what it got for the cockpit. This is the person who's actually flying and operating the system on a daily basis. Direction in, state out, decision surface, but it doesn't go in much detail there. So if I say, well, I want to learn more about what state out means, it should talk about live artifacts, but let's see what the sources actually say about this. In summary, state out is the dashboard half of the human system interface, providing the visibility necessary for the owner to maintain ownership and control over the autonomous loop. I now have a better view of what's going on with everything here. And if I click this button, it expands everything so that I can see the full tree. And now I can see all of the different aspects of the system that I need to build for. In case you didn't notice, one of the things I was not able to upload was the actual HTML code. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually hit this copy button. We're going to go back to NotebookLM, and then we're going to click this button at the top to add sources. And we're going to go copy text. We're going to paste the HTML. We're going to take the tags off. I'm going to come right here to the title tag, and I'm going to take all of that off at the top. And then I'm going to go to the bottom, and I'm going to take these tags off as well. And then I'm going to click insert. And now I want to generate an infographic that's going to help me see the system. I'm going to use a very simple prompt and tell it what I want, because the models have become so advanced. You don't need these complicated, well-written paragraphs that you see people raving about all the time. Create a visual representation of this AI operating system, making sure you capture all of the groups, all of the components, and also give me explainer points about what each section does if possible. I want to get a bird's eye view of what this system looks like to you. I'm going to click generate, and then I'm going to generate a second infographic with the same prompt, but this time without having the HTML code. So one of them is going to be based on one source, and one of them is going to be based on around 14 sources. And while we're waiting on all of those to finish, I can click right here and I can actually share this notebook. Here is a link to a notebook with all of these sources. Look inside of the AI Studio. There are several different assets that I've created there, and I want you to bring that information into this conversation, take screenshots if necessary, create documents, but let's use this information to sharpen our conversation here. Provide the link, send the message over, and now Claude Cowork is going to get the word. That's one of the beautiful things about AI these days, because they're like agents. They can do things on the internet just like we can. But while we're waiting on the video to finish, we can go ahead and take a look at the different infographics that were generated that show us what the operating system looks like to Gemini inside of NotebookLM. And so this is based on one prompt, one source, the same prompt for both. And so there's an interaction surface. This is the user experience group. Then there's the orchestration layer. We've talked about this a lot on the channel. And then we have the intelligence kernel. And then finally, we have the centralized data core. So this is very good. Now we're going to close this. And I'm going to open up the one right here with the 15 sources and see what's the difference between this one and the other one. And we can see that there is a huge difference between the two infographics. One of them was based on a single flat HTML code where I took the header and the footer off. This one is based on the other detailed documentation of the system. And so this is giving me a completely different view of the system. And when we come back to Claude Cowork, we can see that Claude is looking inside of the NotebookLM Studio, taking screenshots and learning what it can from the assets that we've created. And if we want to, we can also click this download button right here, and it's going to download an image of the mind map in the current state. And now I can upload this to Claude and we're done. Now, instead of me burning through all of these credits with Fable 5, which is not going to be a part of the typical Claude plans in the future, it's going to be credit based. I can use products like NotebookLM to get the lion's share of my work done, to get clarity around what I'm actually doing. So I spend less time brainstorming with expensive models like Fable 5 and more time finishing up the project. There are so many different ways to collaborate with all of these different models when you have an AI operating system set up where you can swap the different engines in or out. And if you want my help helping you build one for your business, I'll put a link in the description where you can book a diagnostic call. We sit down, we go over your business, we figure out exactly what your operating system should look like, and then we talk about what it's going to take for you to actually build that. And if you got value out of the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, take care, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.